Let's start with obviously Anton, Silayev. What'd you like about him? Obviously, big guy, a lot of attributes. What made you guys so ecstatic to get him at the number 10?
I mean, thrilled to get him at number 10. We had him obviously a lot higher. I'll say, like, we got our number one D, you get your number one goalie on your list. Let's just start there. We feel pretty good about the draft, but it's one of those things where you got a guy rated high and you start to see him come back to you, and you start crossing fingers and you start, not mentioning his name. You don't want to jinx it. So we were thrilled that he fell to us. That's how we feel. What's not to like? 6'7", he skates like a ballerina. Like his footwork for a guy any size is excellent. When as soon as you establish the fact he's 6'7", great length, covers a lot of ice. I think 63 games this year in the KHL. No, this guy's a special player, and you start to look at our D. We're confident we're going to have one of the best defensive cores in the NHL at some point.
Obviously, a lot of physicality too, kind of a pest to play against.
Yeah, well, he's long. He gets to people in a hurry because of his skating and his reach, and even against the men, he's got that big frame. But even against the men, he's able to hold his own, and he's only going to get stronger. I don't know if he's going to get any taller, but he's going to get stronger. You can still see he's got a little bit of a baby face. There's a lot of growth left in his game.
How important was it getting a player of that type, that caliber, in the pipeline?
Well, we knew we were going to get a good player at 10. I mean, we just did. We looking at the draft, we had like 8 to 9 guys that if they fell to us, any of them, we had no hesitation. But he was really high on our list. And like I said, you see him starting to come down.
Why do you think that happened?
You know what? Teams have different philosophies. Teams have different needs. No idea. I'm just glad it did.
Speaking of falling, you also get the number one goaltender by Central Scouting ranking, number one on your board.
Yes.
What do you like about him? And obviously, you traded up to get him, so obviously something you like.
I want to give Scott Clemenson and his department, we've got guys that really hone in on the goalies. I want to give them big-time props. Really athletic. We also like that he's got a pretty good path here. He's going to play another year in the USHL. He's going to go to Boston University, so there's going to be time for us to develop him. And I'm not a mechanically astute goalie evaluator. We put a lot of onus on them. It's really for us about, well, where do we get them? And it's like, well, if you can step up and get the number one goalie on your draft board, we decided to do it.
And then look at.
I'm sorry. Is Silayev, is he going to development camp by a chance?
I believe he is. I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure Pete does. Silayev going to camp?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's flying out tonight.
Looking at some of the guys on the forwards, all of them are at least 6'3", 200 plus. Is that kind of a directional position that you guys took to maybe add a little size, some physicality? And even interviewing the two guys, they said they love the physical aspect of the game.
Well, I'm a fan of analytics, and numbers don't lie. So 6'3" is 6'3". But they're also good hockey players. Listen, there's a balance, right? What we talk a lot about in our organization is what's a devil look like, okay? And part of being a good hockey player is the ability to win battles. It's the ability to compete. And so I'm not saying we put more of an emphasis on that, but there's no doubt that's an emphasis to the game. All you had to do is watch the playoffs to see that you've got to have a certain prerequisite of skill, which we believe these guys do, but you also have to have either both a willingness to compete and the ability physically to compete. So we like the combo on all those guys, whether it's Pickarainen, whether it's Traff, whether it's Graham. Those are big, strong guys, and we think they have those attributes.
You mentioned Casper, but got to have that nice DNA, the pedigree with his father being a former player and for Jersey.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember him saying it in the interview and forgot about it on draft day. One of the things we're also looking for is for our scouts do a lot of work. We work in close contact with the analytics department. But guys have passion players, guys that they've followed that rise on their list. And we want our scouts to be passionate about everyone we take. Someone on our staff to really be excited we took them where we took them. And so I give our European scouts, in particular Tommy Sinisalo, who's in Finland, a lot of kudos. I mean, you see the names start to come off the board. I would say the majority of the guys we took, we had higher than we ended up drafting.
you get the second goaltender? Is that kind of just adding some depth, or was he just kind of the best player on the board?
Yeah, you know what? You say second goaltender, and what I'll say is the Finnish Federation actually had him ahead of the other Finnish goaltender. So we think he's the number one goaltender in Finland. Good size. I think what probably pushed him back a little bit is limited viewings. He had some injuries, I think, this year. So, no. Make no bones about the fact that you need good goaltending to win hockey games. It's a really hard position to draft. There's one surefire way to improve your statistics in drafting, and that's draft more of them.
Orlovsky, I really like that kid, that sixth-round pick. What did you see in him? I know he was passed over last year,
Yeah.
but the kid has a lot of fight in him, and I think everyone thought that he was going to be picked this year. Just when? What did you like about him?
I think his hockey sense is excellent. I don't want to say elite. I don't want to put that type of pressure on a young person. He sees things that most players don't see, and he has the ability to make those plays. He played in every situation in Baie-Comeau. At the end of the year, played hurt in the playoffs. His coach couldn't say enough about him. I saw him a number of times. Pat saw him a number of times. Smart, right shot center, plays all situation, makes the players around him better. If you look at his World Junior performance, he had a really good World Junior. There's a lot to like about him. Candidly, we had him a lot higher and just kind of played the draft. And again, fingers crossed, hope that he would fall to where he fell, and there was no hesitation.